Hi students, welcome to second year commerce class. In our previous class we have discussed about procedure and formalities of export trade. We could cover only few points. Remaining points we will conclude in this class. So I have explained up to letter of credit. Now I told you that when the exporter is not guarantee of payment, he will demand a letter from the bank of importer. So importer will send a letter through his bank that his financial capacity is good, and on behalf of him the bank is ready to make the payment. So now after receiving the letter of credit, exporter is assured of payment. Now we are we have got the guarantee that after sending the goods, importer can make the payment, or on behalf of him the bank is ready to make the payment. So we have got safety of receiving our sale proceeds and guarantee of payment. Then what you have to do? Now as you see, as you got the assurance for payment, now you have to make the arrangement for shipping. Because see, shipping order, the next step is shipping order. What is shipping order? So before going to the shipping order, try to understand one example. Suppose you are going somewhere, even in Hyderabad, from your house, you want to come to college along with your parents to make the payment of fees, etc. So normally what you do? Just you will come onto the road and immediately you will find a auto, you will ask and you will come to college. You need not go for any pre-arrangement like booking a taxi or that all not required, because very near distance and so many vehicles are available and you do not have any luggage also. So easily you can engage some auto or something, you can come to college. Say for example, you want to go for some pilgrimage and 15-20 members are there, you have got luggage with you. So is it possible like 15 people just coming to the road and taking some autos and going to the place? Is it possible? No. So what you do? You will go for a pre-arrangement. Like when you plan, according to the number of members, you will book a vehicle like 10-seater, 12-seater, 15-seater. You will make the advance payment and you will collect the phone numbers, give the address, and you will see that vehicle comes to your doorstep and all arrangements are made for transportation and you will travel. So try to understand. Earlier you were only 2 people coming to the nearest place, you don't require any arrangement. In the second example, what I told, you got 15 members along with heavy luggage, you want to go a longer distance, so you cannot go without arrangements. So you have to go for planning. So you are booking a vehicle in advance. Clear? Similarly, in domestic trade, as the goods are of small quantity, so directly we are using roadways or railways, other modes of transportation, is very easy. But as I told in the previous class, in foreign trade, in the international trade, generally we go for waterways because airways is too expensive and many countries do not have railway link and roadways. So 90% of the foreign trade occurs through waterways. So in water, what you do? You cannot carry some luggage bags to the port and directly dump into water, then that will reach America, Singapore. It is not like that, no? You have to carry them through ships. And these ships will not have the higher frequency, like every day one ship will not go to America, every day a ship will not go to Singapore. They have got certain time period, maybe 15 days once or 3 months once, like that. These goods carrying ships will have a time break. So if you have to export goods, what you have to do? You have to approach a shipping company. You have to approach a shipping company that seeking some space in a ship for your quantity of goods to be exported, or the entire ship, if the quantity is so large, that you have to mention the destination, like from Vizag to so and so airport, so and so seaport. So this much quantity of goods are to be exported, so we require this much space in your ship. Like that, you have to enter into an agreement. Okay, like for traveling to a picnic, you are making arrangement with a traveling company. Similarly, the exporter has to enter into an agreement with the shipping company for allocating some space in the ship for carrying goods from one country to another country. So, shipping order is the document, or say it is the agreement between the exporter and the shipping company, that we have to get. Because directly you cannot take goods to seaports and say wait for the ship to come. It won't come like that. Okay, you require a lot of formalities are to be done at the seaport also. So that is the reason with a particular shipping company you have to enter into an agreement. So that is how we complete shipping order. Next, after completion of shipping order, the next one is exchange rate. The other day I told you, in case of international trade, currency of one country is to be converted into the currency of another country. Either say, if I am selling the goods, the importer from America will make the payment in US dollars. So as you know, 1 rupee is not equal to $1. Like we have got $1 is equal to around 58 rupees or 64 rupees something. Now, try to recall, is the currency value constant or will keep on changing? It is not constant, it will change. Like petrol rate, gold rate, currency exchange rate also will be changing from day to day. Suppose today, if $1 is equal to 68 rupees, tomorrow it may become 69 rupees or 67 rupees. So, if exchange rate is not fixed, there may chance of disputes at the time of making payment. Like for example, gold, you go and order the ornament in any particular shop. The shopkeeper may say that, okay sir, it takes 1 week to make your chain or your ornament. So after 1 week, the gold rate may not be same. So that is the reason what they do, they fix that rate. On the day when you are giving the advance, that day they will check the gold price and they will write in the receipt. So as on 24th November, gold rate is 52,000 per 10 grams. So your ornament requires 20 grams. So gold rate is 1,04,000. Add making charges, add wastage, then you are given the invoice price. Okay, of your ornament. So after 10 days, whether the gold price decreases or increases, you are not bothered. Okay. Imagine if that is not fixed and today you have given the order and the goldsmith or say the jewelry shop owner has made the ornament. After 10 days, if gold rate decreased, you will be very happy. But increased, you may say that, no, I have given order 10 days back now. That day it was only 52,000. Now you are saying it is 54,000. How could I pay 2,000 extra per 10 grams? So there is a chance of dispute. Similarly, in case of foreign trade, because the currency rate changes from day to day, if the exchange rate is not fixed, like $1 is equal to how many rupees, 1 pound is equal to how many rupees, 1 real is equal to how many rupees, if that exchange conversion rate is not fixed, there may be a chance of dispute between the importer and exporter at the time of making final payment. So that is the reason we have to fix that exchange rate. Then packing and forwarding. As you know, in international trade, we require a special packing. It is not like domestic trade. Okay, because in domestic trade, goods will reach the destination in a very quick time. So climate may not have that much effect. Maybe within days, the goods will reach the destiny. In case of foreign trade, international trade is not like that. They have to travel in the water for months together. Sometimes it may take 1 month, 1.5 months, 15 days. So they are exposed to the nature, they are exposed to the climatic conditions, journey through water, a lot of moisture may be there. Okay. So in that case, there may be a chance of spoilage of goods, damage of goods. So you require special packing. That is the reason you might have seen when your siblings or cousins or relatives going to foreign countries, we pack it in a specialized manner. Have you seen that? Covers with proper labels and thick covers, double covers are there, whether pickles or something is packed, we take all precautions. Otherwise, they get spoiled. Okay, they may not be in the usable condition when we reach our place. So whenever goods are to be traveled for a long time and longer distances, we require special packing. So here also in foreign trade, we have to pack the goods in a proper manner and forwarding. What do you mean by forwarding? Sending them to the seaport. From our godown, from the godown of exporter, the goods after packing are to be sent to the seaports. Seaport may not be near to your godown. No? So for example, we are in Hyderabad. So in Hyderabad, we do not have airport, seaport. So where it is? You have to go to Machilipatnam, Kakinada or Vizag. So from here you have to make goods travel to that seaport. So that is called forwarding. So sending the goods from the godown of exporter to the seaport is called as forwarding. Send goods. Then what you have to do? Customs formalities. What do you mean by customs? What is customs? Customs is a department which takes care of importing and exporting of goods. Customs department is a separate department in India or in any country which looks after the import and export of goods. You see, you remember this point, whether it is covered or not in the syllabus. Let me tell you, any country, any exporter cannot sell goods to other countries without the permission of government of India. We can sell only those goods which are permitted. Okay. Because if it is freely allowed to sell all types of commodities to other countries, so traders in lieu of money, okay, in the greed of profits, may export the entire quantity to foreign countries, making goods shortage in the domestic market. So our first priority, as I said earlier, is to satisfy the needs of domestic population. So every year, Government of India will release a list of goods to be exported and list of goods to be imported. So whether the goods which are planned to be exported are in the list of goods or not, we have to find out. Okay, so every year the government will have a policy called as exempt policy, export policy and import policy. Accordingly, it will allow certain goods and it will ban certain goods of exporting and importing. So this customs department will be monitoring all these activities. Whether the goods what we are sending to other countries are permissible goods or not, in what quantity they are selling, what is the reason, okay, for both cases they will check. So, apart from that goods permission, we have to pay export duty to Government of India. According to the quantity of goods to be exported, every exporter has to pay tax to Government of India. So that is collected by Customs Department. Customs Department will levy export duty on you. Both we have to pay. If you buy, then also you have to pay import duty. If you sell, then also you have to pay export duty. It is a revenue source to Government of India. So there are various purposes and in collecting the tax to control the exports, at the same time to generate revenue, government applies export duty. So duty is nothing but tax. So export duty is to be collected by the customs authorities. So we have to submit various proofs of production, where we have accumulated these goods, to which country we are sending. All these documents we have to enclose, and then according to the quantity of goods, according to the nature of the goods, because you know all the goods are not rated levy tax at a uniform rate. Different commodities will have different rates. If you read the newspaper, you will understand all these things. Electronic goods are taxed at different rate, textiles are different rate, food grains are different rates. So according to that rate, we have to pay customs duty. Then mate's receipt. What is mate's receipt? It is also very important for 2 marks. Okay. Mate's receipt means it is a document given by the assistant of captain of the ship. Like you see, the person who flies the airplane is called as pilot. The person who drives the ship is called as not driver, a captain. So he will have a assistant. He is called as mate. Okay. The assistant of the captain of the ship is called as mate. So once you load your goods into the ship, that mate will check the goods packing and he will give a receipt that yes, the goods are properly packed. The goods are properly packed. He will give a clean receipt. Mate's receipt is again two types. If the packing is good, he will give a clean receipt. Packing is not good, he will give a foul receipt, FOUL, foul receipt. So mate receipt is a document issued by the assistant of the captain of the ship stating the condition of the packing after the goods are loaded into ship. Next, bill of lading. Bill of lading is nothing but loading. It is issued by the shipping company stating that certain quantity of goods belonging to a particular exporter are being loaded into our ship. Say for example, I am the owner of the ship. Some ex-exporter has loaded 50 computers into my ship. So I will give a receipt, I will give a document stating that Mr. X of Hyderabad has loaded 50 computers into my ship, into our ship. The worth of the 50 computers is say 5 crores. So I will give the document. So that document will be used as a negotiable instrument because I am mentioning the cost of the goods. I have said that it is 50 crores or 5 crores. So when I give it to the exporter can discount it with the bank, can give it as surety to others and get money because I am mentioning the value of that goods loaded into my ship. So bill of lading is the document issued by the shipping company to the exporter stating that certain quantity of goods worth are being loaded into the ship. Clear? It is the confirmation, that's it. Confirmation given by the shipping company to the exporter. Now exporter can show it as evidence to his bank, can send that copy to importer so that he can make arrangements for payment. Because how come the importer comes to know that we are making all the arrangements of shipping of goods? So we will take it in 3 copies. 1 copy we will return with it and we will send 1 copy to importer so that importer will understand that yes, exporter is making all the arrangements, very soon he will get the goods. Next, insurance of goods. As you all know that foreign trade involves lot of risk. As the goods have to travel in water, there is a chance of drowning goods into water, accident to the ship or something. Something may happen. So for your safety, go for insurance of goods. That is compulsory. So get the insurance for your goods. Then certificate of origin. Certificate of origin means this document is issued by the country of the producer stating that those goods are produced in our country only. For example, from India, I am exporting goods to America. So Indian government will give me a letter stating that the goods which are being exported by Mr. Madhusudan to your country are being manufactured or being produced in our country only. So this is the official document issued by the government. Why should we take this? What is the necessity of giving this? Is it compulsory always? Means yes, sometimes. When both the countries have got some understanding of rebate of tax, then this letter is useful to get such discount on tax. Because sometimes in foreign trade, some countries will have friendly relations. So they will say that goods manufactured in your country will be taxed with low rate in our country. Similarly, the goods which are produced in our country, you tax at low rate. That may be the understanding between two nations. So accordingly, but we have to give the proof. Suppose say in America there is a policy that goods manufactured in India are taxed at only 20%. So when we export, from America, the importer, in order to get the tax discount, he has to prove that the goods are manufactured in India. So who has to give that certificate? The Indian government has to give that certificate. So the goods which are exported to America are being manufactured in India only. So kindly give tax discount. Like that, a document is required. That is called certificate of origin. Then comes consular invoice. Consular invoice is a document issued by the consulate general. He is an officer, who will certify that particular quantity of goods are being exported. So he will assess the tax payable. Because you see, in foreign trade what happens is, when we export the goods, after receiving of goods at the importer's port, he has to wait for long time to pay the tax. That means he has to pay import duty. So how he has to pay the tax? After receiving the goods, the customs department will verify the quantity, then they will assess, then they will mention that yes, you pay 10 lakhs as tax, you pay 15 lakhs as tax. So to verify your goods, it may take lot of time at the importer's seaport. If you have to avoid that, at India only, if American consulate here verifies the goods and gives a certificate that goods exported by Mr. Madhusudan to America are worth 50 crores, so the tax is 5 lakhs, so here only they will stamp. So for my importer, it becomes very easy. He need not wait over there for days together to get the tax assessment. So consular invoice is a document issued by the Consulate General of importer's country, not exporter's country. From India, if I am exporting goods, means my importer, either from America or from Japan, that consulate will be here. Every country will have a consulate general in other country, so he will issue that certificate. Then preparation of invoice. What is the invoice? It is the document consisting of all price details. So from here to here, what are all the expenses we have incurred? Like cost of the goods, packing cost, transportation cost, insurance cost, shipping cost, all this we have to add. That becomes total cost. So we will prepare invoice at this stage because we are incurring all the expenses. So just we cannot collect only tax from the importer, then it will be a heavy loss for us. So it cost may be around 60 rupees, but remaining 40-50 rupees will be the other expenses. So we have to mention all the expenses. Then you prepare a invoice. Invoice is the official document consisting of the details of cost price and other overheads, and it will tell you the total price of the commodity. So that we have to prepare. That means that will tell us how much money we have to receive from the importer. Invoice will give the details of amount to be collected from the importer. Then securing payment, that's all. You send this invoice to importer and then he will send us the final payment. Clear? So these are the steps involved in export trade. In the next class, we will discuss about import trade formalities.